It's time to get back to working on the pool house, shed, building thing. I still don't know what to call this. Now last time we completely framed and sheathed the whole building, which means it's ready for a roof. And a roof may sound boring, but I haven't even done anything yet, and I think we already have a problem. Oh, no. And these right here are the potential problem. These are special order 20-foot 2x8s. I had no idea that you couldn't get those at a local store, so I had to special order them, and they just got delivered. Now the problem is if we can get these up there. Now that's about 12 feet up, and of course I could get a few people and help me lift them up there, but I'm trying to do as much of this as I can by myself. For no particular reason, I just kind of want to see what I'm capable of. When I was designing this, I talked to an architect and verified that the 2x8s would work up there, across that span, at that length, with the roof and all the stuff, but I never really thought about physically lifting them. So step number one is move all the boards up here by the building because I really need to see how heavy they are. Oh. Luckily, they weren't as heavy as I was expecting, but I still have to get them all up there. And I think to do that, I'm gonna put them in through the back window and then like put an end up and then lift it. I don't know, I'm not really sure, but before I put them up there, I've still gotta cut all the notches in them, and I don't really know how to do that. I've watched several people cut down rafters and notch them and everything with the speed square, and I've tried to understand it, but I still kind of don't. I only have one shot at it with these rafters, so I think I'm actually gonna test putting one up there, mark it out, and then bring it down and cut it and use it as a template. And I don't know if I told you this, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Huh, this seemed like a good idea. Okie dokie, let's start over. Now, of course, if I continue to do this type of work, understanding how to get that angle and recreate that angle with the speed square is something I need to do. It's not hard, I just don't remember the stuff that I learned before. If you've got a good reference video for how to take advantage of a speed square, leave me a comment down below with a link. I would really appreciate it. For now, I've got the template that I need relative to the face that I need, so I can just copy this onto the board. I measured that a whole bunch of times, and I wish I could say that I'm really confident, but I can't screw this up because I don't have any extra 20-foot boards laying around. So I think I'm actually gonna cut the top notch, put the whole board up there, and just verify that my marks for the low notch are in the right spot before I cut them. It's more work, but man, I really don't wanna mess this up. Okay, huh. I also don't have a way to keep this up there and make sure it doesn't fall down. I guess it should be okay. One of the things I'm having to make myself do is be slow on all this stuff. My tendency is just to like keep moving, but I have a feeling if I do something too fast, something's gonna slip, something's gonna fall, I'm gonna fall. I'm trying to slow down. Oh. Yeah. Ladders, cool. All right, so, oh boy, how do I do this? That is 1/2 of an inch. So we're gonna do 1/2 of an inch there. I'm not nervous, are you nervous? I'm not nervous at all being up here with this. I'm actually not afraid of heights, but I'm also just not confident in everything staying where I want it to be. Ooh. Okay, I would absolutely not do this if this were a spinning saw up here. I don't think it's safe, but a jigsaw I think is a little bit more manageable. Hey, that's looking pretty good. All right, but this little clamp here is like a safeguard so this end doesn't fall off. Stay put. All right, need another clamp. It might help. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, now we get to see how close I was. Not bad, but not right. Let's see, it's gonna sit further. It's gonna drop straight down. It's so weird because the cutouts or not cutouts change the angle that it's sitting, which changes the angle that you would draw the cutouts. That's why you learn how to use a speed square. I think we're good. That's pretty good. I'll take that. Of course, something else I notice is that this tape is getting ripped just by sliding the boards up and down, and that's gonna happen all along this entire edge as I put the pieces on. So I'm gonna have to come back and like retape this right before, I guess, or something. I don't know, that's kind of a bummer. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. Now, if you're a maker like me, you might prototype a lot. That's what I do almost all the time, is I just make one of something. And sometimes I don't have the tool to make the thing that I want. Like for instance, a PCB board. I don't have what I need in the shop to be able to do that efficiently, but I can use PCBWay. If you go to the website, you can actually see all the different things that they offer, and making PCBs is actually just one of the very small things. They offer tons of stuff. In addition to making PCBs, they will also solder on components and build full electrical platforms for you. They'll do 3D printing and CNC machining and sheet metal fabrication and injection molding. Now, if you've ever thought about doing anything with injection molding and looked into it, you found out how expensive it is and how hard it is to do small batch stuff. Well, that's one of the things that PCBWay offers. And they have lots of different materials for injection molding, but they also have lots of different materials for the CNC work or the 3D printing. They offer a wide variety of materials, and each one of those different processes, those services, have a different proofing method so that you can verify that your parts are exactly what you want. And all of that stuff, all of the services are available on PCBWay.com. To get started, go to this link right here on screen and use the code PCBWay-ILTMS10. That's going to get you $10 off of orders over $30 at PCBWay for the first 100 orders. They didn't ask me to mention this, but one of the things I found on the website that I think is really cool is an OEM section. So like, if I designed an entire computer, they could manufacture the entire thing for me, which I think is wild. I don't have any plans to make a computer, but I do like to make prototypes and even small run production. PCBWay is great for that, whether you need one thing or tens of thousands of things. Like I said before, whether you need one of something or 1,000 of somethings, go to PCBWay and see what they can offer, because it's actually pretty mind-blowing. Huge thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. All of the rafters are notched and ready to be put up there and nailed in place, except for the ones that are on the front and the back of the building. Those actually don't sit on top of the building. They're like eaves. They float out 16 inches, which is a lot. And trying to figure out how to put them in place by myself has been an interesting challenge. But I think I have an idea, and we're gonna use outriggers. So my plan here is to build a section of the rafters connected by outriggers on the roof and then slide it off so that the one is hanging off the side 16 inches. And my thinking is that if I have 4 things connected and only one thing is hanging off, the weight of these 3 will stop it from trying to tip off the side of the roof. And I'm trying to figure out a way to do that so that it's not dangerous. I've also realized in this process that the first one I picked up was pretty light, but not all of them are pretty light. This one's way heavier. I don't know why. Oh my gosh. Now, of course, there is a potential problem with this whole idea of assembling sections and sliding it down. Each one of these rafters is pretty heavy, and 4 of them together is gonna be even heavier, plus all the 2x4s connecting everything. So I'm just assuming that once I get it assembled up there, I'm gonna be able to push it 16 inches. And I know I could get help, but I'm just trying to figure out how to do this on my own. The hard thing about it is getting leverage because I'm on ladders. And have to kind of wiggle it like end to end. I'll admit, I was worried that that was a dumb idea, but it totally worked. Go physics! Getting those things in place was actually the thing that I was the most scared about with the roof, and now that I know it kind of works, I can just move on and get it done. Now, if I'm being honest, that made me the most nervous of probably anything so far. That felt really sketchy because all of the pool equipment is right underneath it. And if I dropped that, it would have damaged everything. But luckily it is temporarily held in place. So now I got to go up there and nail it in. And then the roof framing is finished. It's time for sheathing. So I'm going to start at the bottom edge and work my way up. And so that there's something for this first piece to sit on, just going to put in a little ledger. All right, I finally got all the tape on, which is awesome, but I wanted to point something out about this sheathing. I use the same green stuff that I used for the walls down there, but there's actually a different color, different thickness zip sheeting that you're supposed to use for the roof. Unfortunately, I can't find it. I did, however, find several articles online talking about the green stuff and how it's okay to put on a roof as long as you don't have a big snow load, and where I live, I don't. So now that I've got the entire roof covered and taped, theoretically, no water could get into the building. Except for one thing. It's actually 4 things, a big door and 3 windows, but I'm not ready to put those in yet. I am ready to start working over here, and we haven't even talked about this yet. One of the main reasons I'm building any of this at all is to cover the pool equipment. I've got a heater, a filter, a pump, and a bunch of electrical. All that stuff will last a lot longer if it's protected from the elements. So we need to cover it. But rather than just building a little tiny cover thing to cover the equipment, it made more sense, to me at least, to build the pool house shed thing, and then add a little lean-to on the side that will cover the equipment. So that's what we got to do next. So the idea is to have a ledger that runs across the building right here, and that's going to have some rafters that come out and then go down onto a header, which is supported by some posts that go down here. And then we'll cover the front and the sides eventually so that it's kind of hidden and even more protected. But that's the idea. It's pretty much like the other stuff we did, only simpler. This is the bracket that I'm going to put on the concrete to hold the posts up. Just have to drill a hole for that. And before I can do that, I got to figure out where the hole goes. Also, that's over 12 feet tall. So I have to build a climbing wall in here, right? So I got the hole drilled and actually went all the way through the slab, which reminded me that the slab was 4 inches. And the anchors I got are 5.5, so I'm gonna have to go get some different ones. This type of anchor I've never used before. It's called a wedge anchor. And this little end down here splits and opens up inside the hole once you start tightening it. So I'm gonna have to go swap this out because this thing would be tightening below the slab, and that's no good. That was pretty easy. Let's do the other one. The posts are in place, and then these are gonna go on top of the posts. So it's gonna be held on like that, and then this channel up here is to hold a header that will run across them so that the rafters have a place to set. I'm gonna be putting these on with structural screws. You could use nails. I just like using the screws instead. They're not just any screws, they're structural screws. All right, so I made that double 2x8 header that's almost 14 feet long, and somehow I have to lift that up onto these posts, but it's making me realize that this whole section of the building is actually like the fuzziest to me. But I didn't really think about how to actually put it in place. Right now, these posts are not stable enough to go setting something really heavy on them, so I think I'm gonna temporarily tie them to the building just to stop them from moving around so I can get the thing up there. Okay, here goes nothing. This thing is heavier than I would like to admit. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can do this. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's not bad. If I can get it to drop in. Okay, let me slide it over that much, I think. To check my measurements to make sure that's in the right spot. That wasn't so bad.
And so Bob moved on, not realizing his measurements were in fact wrong.
Cool. I just realized that I goofed up. That header is only supposed to be as wide as the posts, so I need to cut off about, I don't know, 2 feet or so. Luckily, making board shorter is pretty easy. That's quite a bit lighter. Imagine that. The size that I originally cut that piece was the right size, just for a different piece. I have to make a ledger, that length, that goes on the building, goes up there, and that gives me a place to attach the rafters to on the side of the building. And overall, this roof is gonna be really similar to the other one, except I'm gonna have to use rafter hangers on that ledger to hold the rafters so that they can cross this header tomorrow. Now, this roof is basically the same as the other one. It's almost exactly the same, except for the outrigger pieces. Whereas I had to make those on top of the big roof and then slide them into place, these I can just build in place. Other than that, it's exactly the same. It's amazing. This stuff turns out not to be nearly as hard as I thought it would be most of the time. Sweet. I have a roof on the entire building, which honestly feels really, really good. Now, to be fair, all of the stuff that I've done so far, framing, covering things with sheathing, it's all similar to stuff that I've done before. But next up, we have to cover and wrap the entire roof with metal, and that is something I have zero experience with. So I need some help from you. If you know of any channels or videos that have good information about all the different parts of metal roofing, how to wrap everything and how to guide water away from the parts where it shouldn't be, I need your help. I need recommendations because I don't know what I'm doing. Speaking of recommendations, I wanted to point something out. You're seeing a video at least a couple of weeks after I do the work, so the feedback is maybe a little bit too late, but it's also really helpful. But I've had some really great recommendations that I am going to work into the next video. Thank you so much for those comments, and thanks for hanging out with me. I'll catch you next time. I did figure out how to make it, but I didn't figure out how to actually make it, how to get it how do I say that? So that I have a place to connect rafters? I have a roof.